Have you been keeping up with what's going on in Africa? I think it's amazing. And I've been listening and looking at the network TV to see when they're going to say something about what's going on in Africa. And I have yet to see any kind of commentary, documentary, or anything that speaks to the issues of what is going on in Africa. And if you're not aware of it, please become aware. Did you know that African nations have gotten together, the various countries, and they want the British, the French, the Belgium, all of Europe, and the United States to get out of their countries? Now that's bold. They want all of those countries out. They're tired of colonialism. They're tired of the ravaging of the countries that these empires have done. And I call them empires because they've been there for over 500 years, sapping the resources from Africa. The Africans know how rich they are in resources. And of course, the Europeans know that, along with the United States. But they want to keep the Africans poor. They don't want the Africans to rule themselves because they have played tricks on them all of these years. But you see, Africa is coming into its own. Africa has brilliant people. They always have had brilliant people. And through the years, Africans have been all over the world studying. So what we have now, in my opinion, is the effect of the education of all of these Africans coming back to Africa to help make decisions for their countries. Niger and all of those countries want the Europeans out, and the Europeans are having a fit about it, including the United States. And you need to become aware of the fact that things are happening in Africa that have never happened before, and you need to open your eyes because some tricks are getting ready to be played. Some tricks are getting ready to be. Do you think that Europe and the United States want to give up the resources that Africa has? No, they don't. And you know they have that oil pipeline that goes through a lot of the countries there. And the Africans are saying to themselves, that pipeline is taking resources from Africa and pumping those resources, that oil, to Europe and other places, and they get nothing for it. They have been looted for 500 years with these various colonial powers, and they want them out. And I say it is time. I'm so thankful. I'm so thankful that they have joined together. But you know what? Europe and the United States are planning some things. It's all over social media. You see, it's coming straight from Africa to us. So some of us who are woke have been paying attention. Of course, you know there's a lot of propaganda. And I'm wondering, what kind of propaganda is the United States and Europe trying to figure out so that they can turn things around to make it look like the Africans are ignorant and they don't need to be running their own countries? What? If they want to choose other countries to be in a relationship with, that's up to them. If they want the Soviet Union, if they want China to work with them, so what? Europeans, you have pilfered them for all of these years. So it's time maybe for some other countries to help them. Countries that they feel will benefit them in the long run. You've had your day. Europe, you've had your day. United States, you've had your day. I know I'm here in the United States. And maybe we will suffer. But like some European man said, we have got to keep the Africans poor. That's where they belong. They need to be poor. Why? Because if they wake up like they have done, they have awoken and they want their just deserve. They are tired of being pilfered from those other countries and those powers, including the United States, who has done her share of pilfering there. So I salute the Africans, and I'm keeping my eye on Africa, and I hope you will too. And let us not feed into the propaganda. They're getting ready to send out some kind of messages to say that Africa should not run themselves, that they should still depend on the Europeans. But please, let them make their own decisions. They've tried democracy. It doesn't work. The racism that has permeated that continent for so many years, the degradation that has permeated that continent for so many years. You have had your turn. It is time for you to get out. And I support the Africans in their quest for their own rule. They want to make their own decisions. Get your military bases out of there. Get your spies out of there, Europe and the United States. Let the Africans run their own continent. They are perfectly capable of doing that. Well, some mistakes might be made along the way. And you have certainly made your mistakes along the way, Europe and the United States. Let Africa be. Pay them what you want, what you feel is worth your involvement with their resources. Pay them. Don't just go over there and get it free and try to keep them poor. Pay them. That's the problem. You have been stealing from them all of these years and maybe working with a few people, and they are not going to take it anymore. They want to run their own countries. They want you out, and I don't blame them one bit. They are also calling for African Americans to come to Africa to help. And some of you have been wanting to go for a long time. You businessmen, you brilliant scientists, and all of the rest of you who want to go. I would go if I were younger. I certainly would go. I would certainly go because Africa needs us and the time is now. Please pay attention to what's going on in Africa and don't be swayed by the propaganda that's going to be fed to us over the next several months.